Here it is, 3 years in the thinking, 3 weeks in the making. It's the Getty's Beer Address. This site is dedicated to designing beer labels because why not? Because I can. There's a site for everything else. How do you like this? This is 2 days in After Effects. Anyway, the way this is going to work is I'm going to feature a beer and a brewery at the top and then move right into designing a label for a fictional beer. The first brewery is called Living Waters Brewing. It's in Nashville. The beer is called Wainui. It's a New Zealand style Pilsner. The label art is some blue line art of a sea god with some blue halftones for some shading, all on a pastel yellow, maybe kind of a cream, and it's very cool. It's a real good beer. I'll put more info in the video description, and I'm looking forward to getting down there very, very soon. Okay, so the first step is going to be to pick a name for this beer. Dick Stack is not going to work. I don't want to do that. I think after clicking through a few options on this name generator, we're going to land on Iron Pale Ale. Now I've chosen a couple textures, a white cracks on black and black cracks on white. Alright, now we're going to set that artboard 8 inches wide by 3 5/8. Set a bleed so that we have 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Looks like 1/4, so a total of 1/2 inch. Okay, we got the artboard set up. And we're going to add that black texture and set it up to match up with the bleeds. But first, I'm gonna make a clipping mask so we don't have extra texture outside of the bleed. Now I'm gonna pick or create a rectangle to make a guide so that I know where my edges are. And I've already picked a typeface, Baron Noé. And I picked that because it's got some thinner and thicker versions. Switch that to white, take the stroke off. And now I'm going to set up some guides so I know where my thirds are. If you keep the guides unlocked, you can use that to, the X and Y values to move those where you need them. This way you can add these elements and know that you've got them in the right place, or at least where you want them. Okay, what's next? So now, since we picked this typeface, we can... Well, first we're gonna use this hierarchy rule and make the pale ale a little smaller. How small? I don't know. Until it looks right. So, like where it is here, but I increased the tracking. Closer look. Alright, so I like to copy and paste and keep one live version if I think I'm gonna outline one. If you want, once you outline it, it's not editable. go, I like that. Alright, I like where this is at. We're going to outline it so we can add some effects. The biggest mistake you'll make when you're starting out is thinking there is a perfect font. There's not. So we're just going to add a little rough into this. Size 1%, detail 4, 5, up to 10. Okay. And that's good. So if you take a font and just add some character, make it your own, expand, and we're ready to put that on the artboard. Alright, we'll get that centered and make that pale L fit the width. It's pretty good. Now let's make it fit that middle panel. Center it up. Back up. Make that a little bigger. Yeah? Do I? Guess not. Alright, so now I'm going to put a texture inside that text. And we're going to use the opacity mask. And you probably have to zoom in to see what that looks like. There you go. It's pretty cool. Okay, I'm happy where we are there. Now we're going to build this other element. This is going to look like a perforated metal. We're going to start with the perfs. And we're just going to start with a circle. We're going to blend it till we get the right amount of perfs. So if I keep that up against the edge, I can have an idea when we blend it how many is the right many. And the right size. Alright, so blend options, steps. We're going to make that. It's too many. The great part about the blend is we can just scroll through the numbers until we find something we like. Looks about right. So we're going to copy, move a couple times until we get the width we want. And we're going to put a kind of a brushed metal gradient behind that. And rotate that. And when you do a light gray to light gray to black, and you repeat that, that's how we get that brushed metal look. It's going to take a lot more stops than that though. Actually, that's not too bad. Since the whole design is black and white, high contrast, we're going to make this middle gradient a little darker. Looks like it's deeper with some shadows. And we'll move that behind the circle pattern. And command left bracket. Perfect. Or really good. Now if we just copy and move, no, we're gonna match the height and width of the perfs. Actually, I'm gonna make a clipping mask of that too. So select it all, make clipping mask. But I'm gonna grab that gradient and just create these bars in each side. Since I'm using the same one, won't have to worry about how they match up. There, that's what I'm looking for. Those lines won't come out in printing. So select, group, move, and we'll use it as our kind of a border to distinguish our thirds. There. So far. That looks like. What change am I making here? I'm gonna make those shadows a little bigger. Now it kind of looks like we've got a cross section of cylindrical, perfed metal. I like to use this presentation mode, sometimes looking at the design. That way you can see things you didn't see with all the guides and some of these panels open. Alright, next I'm going to create this square to make a guide. I'm going to make this hop leaf effect. Let's see. Since I know I'm going to flip it, I'm just going to make half of it first. And it's really just some line art with some angles. Getting it centered up. And we'll draw that circle, fill that in, center it up. I use the same line, that way I know I've got the same stroke. And with the smart guides I can copy and move and keep it the same. These two shorter lines, the same distance apart from the main line. Alright, using the line segment, create one 45-degree angle line. I'll match that up with the top line, and you can see it start to come together, if you know what I'm talking about anyway. There you go. Highlight, copy, transform, boom. This way I know stuff matches up. I like being able to just copy and rotate or copy and flip. Don't have my anchor points lined up. You want to do that so that when you join them, boom, corner. Yeah, there it is. The same thing on the bottom. Highlight them both. Voila, one line. But I don't like that middle line so long. Here you go. Now I'm just going to flip this. Copy, move, boom. Now when you pull out, you can see the stroke isn't quite big enough. So we'll increase that by 1, probably a little more. Well, the stroke scaled up, so let's bring it back down. That looks good. Alright, now I'm going to create this medallion. Is that right? Medallion? Maybe kind of a plate. There's two rectangles. I'm going to shape those out and then merge them, center them, then merge them. I think I'm going to drop the middle down a little bit. So I've got to put one more, drop an anchor point in there, select it. Because I don't want it to go down much, I just arrow key that down instead of trying to move that with the mouse. Alright, now I'm going to select the shape after I've merged it. I'm going to create another line, offset a path, move it inside, stroke it, just to give it a little kind of a frame. And I'm going to take our pale ale and I'm going to put it inside there.
Now this is one way we can create a little more contrast in the whole design. I just had that in white below the parent text, but creating this element, I can reverse that. Now I'm making a screw, like this plate has been screwed into the medallion. And then we'll group the circle and the line, move it over, rotate. I'm going to highlight them both, center them up. Boom, good to go. Now move that up. Let's see if we need to resize it. Sure we do. Yeah, it really looks too big. Don't think it should be much wider than the iron element. So what am I doing here? We're gonna shrink it and then kern it a little bit. Nope. Okay, we're running with it. I like it. It's way too big though. That's better. Now the space between that medallion and the hop leaf should be the medallion and iron, the space between there and that iron and the hop leaf at the top should probably be a little greater. Looks too close. That medallion looks too close. But we do have a couple more elements we want to add at the bottom of this center panel. Since it's a pale ale, it's going to be a lower ABV. And as a pale, the IBUs are going to be a little... that's about right. I mean, it's not too bad. Alright, I guess we're going to run with that. Maybe we fix that spacing later. But we've got some elements to add to the left panel. We've got a UPC at the bottom in the middle. Description of the beer that's made up. And then the Getty's Beer address logo, which I think normally the brewery logo would go there. So we're just going to put that there. Now I've pasted in some other elements. The logo for the Independent Craft Brewers Association, government warning, and then the fluid ounces. All stuff I bet is required by law for beer labels. I already see one mistake. I'm sitting here trying to center these elements in the panels, but I've gone to the guide, and I probably should have gone to the edge of that perfed metal, that polished metal looking element. Now right after I get this, after I get these lined up, and some real fun starts, we're gonna save this as a JPEG, right? And then we're gonna open up Dimension. We're gonna make ourselves a 3D mockup. After we get the size figured out, 1920 by 1080 seems to be a safe way to go. What are we looking at? Man, I need to fix my preview to 100%, no, 75%. Ooh, that's too much. 150. Alright, so we pull the can model that comes with Dimension. I think maybe I made this too big, but you'll see. We tripled the size, doubled it. Anyway, we just dropped the image on top of the can. It does most of the work for us. We use these controls. We're gonna shape it to fit the can. Boom, look at that. It's beautiful. We're gonna duplicate it, and we're gonna make 3 cans. The right side will show off the right panel, the center, obviously the center panel, and the same for the left. I sped this video up quite a bit. I had to use my old Mac for this part because the new M1s can't handle dimension yet, so this was probably about 2 hours worth of work just because it's so slow, but it's just clunky. But after we get that set, I still think that left can looks closer to the front than the right can. And you get all kinds of really cool options, but well, that render took 30 minutes. And I shouldn't have picked that drop shadow. But you'll see I've already got that masked out in Photoshop. I took the render, moved it into Photoshop. I've got our JPEG of the flat label. I'm just going to drop it on top of there. Yes. Alright. And we'll resize, since that's one PNG, we'll just resize that a bit to fit the label. Take your time. Yeah, that's about right. We got that centered up. We'll throw a drop shadow on there. Right? Of course. When you don't know what else to do, that's when you put a drop shadow in. Playing with the distance, the opacity, there's no right or wrong. Well, there's probably a wrong, but I don't see it right now. Anyway, I think we're pretty well done. There's a couple small mistakes that we can fix for next time, but I would call this a proof ready to send to a client.
There it is, video number 1, the Iron Pale Ale. This has been a colossal effort, and there's much room for improvement, but I figured at $60 a month I should figure out how all the software works. If you liked the video, I'll get a newsletter started on the website, or give me a follow on Instagram at Getty's Beard Dress. If you didn't like it, man, you got to start somewhere. I'll do better next time. Thanks. Take care.